Good evening. You're watching Public Media's English language news broadcast Hungary. Part-time Shefam, thanks for joining us. The wreck of the Mermaid sightseeing boat, which sank in Budapest on the 29th of May after colliding with a river cruise ship, has been lifted from the River Danube and placed on a barge near the Margaret Bridge on Tuesday. The salvage operation started after 6 in the morning and went very slowly in order to reduce the hull's risk of falling apart. The bodies of 4 victims were found in the wreckage, which was inspected several times during the rescue operation.
Early Tuesday morning, boats gathered by the foot of Margaret Bridge. People from the Counter-Terrorism Centre, divers and marine engineers stepped onto the barges. Around 7 a.m, harnesses which have been placed under the wreck of the Hungarian ship tightened as the operation to salvage the boat began. It was 10 minutes after 7 when the captain's bridge first appeared from the Danube. As soon as the deck of the boat came to the surface, firefighters immediately started to pump out the water, after which divers entered the vessel to check the upper deck. A couple of minutes later, the first victim was found underneath the cracked top of the captain's bridge. Not long after, authorities confirmed the identity of the victim, who was the Hungarian captain of the boat. After this, 3 other passengers' bodies were brought to the surface and placed on another ship. Amongst the victims was the body of a 6-year-old child who was accompanied by his or her mother and grandmother on the boat trip. Around 8:30, rescue services held a short break as they had found damage on the hull. Another risk to the operation was that a part of the boat drifted underneath one of the barges. Members of the rescue team worked under very trying circumstances. Temperatures on deck reached 30 degrees well before midday, while the flowing stream of the river also caused difficulties. After the extra harness had been placed under the ship, the operation continued. Around 10:30, the windows of the passenger area had reached the surface as well, which meant that traces of the destruction caused by the collision had become clearly visible on the wreck. The boat's back was literally destroyed by the Viking sign Hotel boat. No more victims were found, which means authorities are still searching for 4 more bodies. A few minutes after 1 p.m, the Clark Adam dredge slowly lifted the wreck onto the barge. Experts used jaws to keep the boat in place so it wouldn't turn over on the flat surface. After this, they used securing ropes to fix the wreck in order so that they could transport it to the Budapest dock site in Csepel.
South Korean Prime Minister thanked Prime Minister Viktor Orbán in a letter for his expressing condolences and also thanked the Hungarian government for its support and cooperation. The South Korean head of government said that the special attention and support given in the search and rescue operations to find missing victims of the boat accident was a great consolation and hope for the government and the people of South Korea. The number of jobs created by German companies in Hungary has exceeded 300,000, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade said in Essen, Germany. Peter Szijjártó emphasized that the Economic Protection Action Plan might inspire further German investments because government measures would reduce bureaucracy and the tax burden labor.
The role of German companies in global economic changes help Hungary to move the Hungarian economy into new dimensions as quickly as possible. Today, the Hungarian and German economies are dependent on, as well as mutually affect one another. This is supported by the fact that 30% of all foreign investments coming into Hungary come from Germany.
The development of the separated national minority regions would be supported by an EU initiative launched by the Secular National Council. The aim is that the European Union directly support national and ethnic minorities with the help of cohesion funds. Signatures in support of the initiative are already collected. The forms can be filled in online as well.
The civic initiative, which was created to support the equality in territories populated by a Hungarian majority across the border, can also be signed in the Democracy Centre in Székelyudvarhely. The sheets can also be filled out online since the 1st of June at the nemzetiregiok.eu webpage. A couple of minutes on a mobile phone are enough to complete it. It was only in May, after many attempts, that the European Commission registered the Secular National Council's initiative, having rejected the proposal in 2013, saying that the proposed regulation is not under EU competence. The motion would like to see the European Union support the same sort of development of torn-away indigenous territories with equal opportunities, as well as to provide these communities with direct access to EU funding. Together with economic convergence, the initiators would also like it if the identity and characteristics of these territories would not change. In order to keep the regional identity of secular land, so that secular land can stay secular, to be able to have direct access to EU funding, and so that settlers can take the development of secular land into their own hands. This is why Hungarians have to sign this, so that Hungarians living in torn-away territories where they form a majority can stay a majority to keep the region's Hungarian identity, the president of the Secular National Council said. Many across-the-border Hungarian inhabited indigenous territories have stood behind the civic initiative, as well as advocacy organizations and Transylvanian Hungarian political parties. 1 million supportive signatures are needed in the upcoming 11 months in order for the European Commission to address the proposal. Last year, signatures to support the defense of national minorities in EU legislature were collected as well throughout Europe and Hungary. The Minority Safe Pack initiative was signed by more than 1.3 million concerned citizens.
Another mayor candidate entered the pre-election process. Andor Smuk officially announced that he would participate in the opposition casting. With him, 4 candidates take part currently in the second round of the pre-selection.
These pictures were uploaded by Andor Smuk on Pentecost Monday to his social page, suggest that after 2010 he will for a second time campaign to become the mayor of Budapest. I'm signing up for this position and I'm signing up for the pre-elections. The once MSP politician officially announced on Monday that he will in fact enter the race. Andor Smuk justified his decision by saying that the programs of other candidates are not good enough because they want to change the travel discounts of elderly people. He also said that if his opponents promise not to change these discounts, then he will step down from the race. I hope that the next video can be me thanking the other 3 candidates for promising to secure the support and discounts for elderly people, Andor Smuk said. Together with the independent politician, now 4 people will be running for the pre-elections. Then there won't be a pre-election. For a while it seemed that Robert Puzsér will be the opponent of Gergely Karácsony in the opposition's casting for the mayor of Budapest. But he's already stepped down from the race twice, and the parties that used to stand behind him have also left. After the EP elections, Momentum announced that they'll enter Gábor Kerpel-Fronius as a candidate. I don't want to categorize my opponents, I would rather like to have a serious debate with them. DK, our Democratic Coalition, also entered a candidate after the EP elections. So instead of their previous candidate, Gergely Karácsony, they will now support ex-talk show host Olga Kálmán. The thing I had to think about was which one of my fingers to bite, as any decision I make will be a difficult one if I enter this race as a candidate. Gergely Karácsony is hoping that in the end he'll be the one to win the pre-elections, but he didn't deny that it was a surprise even for him that DK withdrew their support.
Those interested can already visit the recently born European and American bison calves in the Nyíregyháza Zoo. Only a few hours after their birth, the bison babies stood on their feet and joined the bison herd. The animals living here spend most of their time feeding, but they also like rolling in the mud and sand. The European bison is considered to be the largest mammal on the continent that wouldn't be able to exist in the wild today without the protective care of zoo parks. Children arrived in Szarvas, Békés County from different parts of Hungary and 4 foreign countries to introduce their traditional dances at Folkid International Children's Folk Art Festival. The event kicked off in the old Hungarian town situated on the bank of the Körös River and in 3 other domestic locations on Tuesday. The festival's aim is to make children get acquainted with each other's traditional culture. And that's all for now, but we'll be back tomorrow night at around the same time, and you can catch Hungary reports online as well. Please stay tuned for our German, Russian and Chinese language news broadcasts. Thanks for watching. Take care. Good night.